Hey guys, it's Wendy here with Wendy's Plans, and today I am bringing you a video about I've heard it pronounced different ways, Tomoe River Paper, Tomoe River Paper, um, whichever way you pronounce it. I thought I'd just bring you a little video about this paper and why I like this paper. So if it interests you, stay tuned. Okay guys, so I'm going to start with the Tomoe River paper, and I'm going to talk to you about things that I have learned. I was looking for information on this paper, and it was hard to find a lot of information. I've pulled out a sheet for us to do a pen test and that kind of thing on, but my son's girlfriend gifted me with a pack of this paper for my birthday last year, and we're coming up on my birthday this year, and I haven't used it because I've been terrified to use it because I was so afraid I was going to waste this paper. So I looked up to find out some information about this paper. So the first thing that I found out was that this was originally produced to make catalog mailings, and so that's the reason it is so thin, is because they needed it to be thin. So if you can imagine sending out, big heavy catalogs, and I'm going to date myself here, guys. I don't know if y'all remember the old Sears catalog, and they had those really thin pages, and they were really this thin, and but if you hadn't have had thin paper, it would have been unbearable to hold the pages that were in those catalogs. We're blessed now that we have a computer and can see all of those things online, but back in the day, you were shipped a catalog. So that was what the paper was originally made for. The name of the company that made the paper, and I'm looking to see if it's on here because I know this is by them, but I don't see it on here. This is their logo. It's called the Tomoe Ogawa Paper Company, and they were established in 1914 is the information I found. Now, I'm telling you guys, it was not a lot of information out there. So some of the information that I have may be a little dated. I don't know. So the first thing you need to know is that GSM is grams per square meter, and the smaller the gram weight, the thinner the paper. So this paper is produced in 52 grams and 68 grams. Now what I have is the 52 gram paper. So it's the thinnest, and it has a coating on the paper, and that coating is what makes it so smooth and what everybody likes. Now the other thing that I found is that the river that runs by this plant where it is made is called the Tomoe River, and that's why it is called this. And so they manufacture this from pulp that is in that forest that is sustainable. And guys, if you've never used this paper, you need to try it. Oh my gosh, it is great. So some of the characteristics that you will notice about this paper, so let me tell you those. It is the thinness of the paper. As I said, I mean, you can see my hand through this paper. That is how thin this paper is. It has a smooth texture. It is like writing on silk almost. It is just so smooth. This paper is, one of the quotes that I found was the holy grail of fountain pen users. They love writing on this paper. I use fountain pens. I love writing on this paper. I use the Hobonichi Weeks and Cousins, and the paper that are in those books are the Tomoe River Paper. One of the things that I really love is there is no bleed through, so I don't care how much ink I put on the front, it does not bleed through to the back. Now, you will have ghosting and that kind of thing, but where you can see it through the back, but it's not going to, so if I have a stack of 2 or 3 and I'm really heavy on the ink, it's not going to go through to the next page. There is no feathering. And the other thing that I like about this paper, and I've pulled out a sheet so we can do some pen test on it, is that the color is really sharp on this paper. They produce it in 2 colorways. It's the cream and the white. And I am going to show you the difference in the 2 colors. What is considered some cons about this paper is that it's not usually suggested for alcohol-based paints and markers or inks, because there is a coating on here, and the dry time for this paper is a little bit longer. And the other thing is that there will be ghosting on the back. The other thing that I've noticed too is if you write real heavy, when you flip it over, you will be able to feel or see the indentions from the other side on the paper. So those are some of the things that people don't like about this. This paper is a little more expensive. It is being used a lot more in the States and other places around the world, so the price has come down a little bit. It's still, for me, it's a little more expensive, but it's more readily available now. You can go on Amazon and get this. You can go on different sites and you can actually get notebooks that are made with this paper. So those are the things that I have found out. I was looking to, I have made notes to the side. Now, I have another notebook that I was going to show you, kind of compare the two. And this notebook has a similar feel to, let me flip to a blank page. It has a similar feel as far as the smoothness and the coating that's on this paper. But as you can see, the difference is when I put my hand through this paper, you can't see. So this is a higher gram weight. I'm going to flip it over and see if I can figure out what the gram weight is. This is made by Kikuyo. Kikuyo, I think is how you pronounce it. And I do not see a gram weight on this, to be honest. It is a very smooth writing paper. I will show you the difference between the two. I'm going to set this to the side until we get through with it. So I have my Hobonichi Cousins here, and I thought I would flip it over and show you, let me go to the back, the difference in the color. So these are the difference. This is white. It is, let me see if I can zoom you in a little bit so you can see. So this is the white and this is the cream. I have a Weeks, which is, I believe is my Weeks, is done in the yellow. Yes. So let me get to a page. So on my 2 Hobonichis, the Weeks is done in this same paper, and it's more of a creamy or a yellower base tone. And then the Hobonichi Cousins is in the white. When I'm writing on these, neither one of them bother me. It's just, I really don't have a problem going between one and the other, to be honest, when I'm planning in my Hobonichi Cousins versus my Weeks, and that is the only difference as far as the paper is concerned between the two. So I have a pack of the loose sheets in an A5 size, and It even says, I don't know how to say this, Sakaya technical paper. And it is to know that it is a, oops, let me slide this up. So to know that it is a true Tomoe River paper, it will have this stamp on it. That was one of the things that I did learn. Okay, so we're going to, I'm going to leave it on top so I have some padding to work with. And we are going, let me widen you back out some now. We're going to try some pen test. So this is an archival ink. This is a waterproof ink. So this should be a good ink for this paper. And this is the Pigma Micron. So I'm just going, let's see. We'll just write Micron. And we're going to see the smear test. It does smear, and that's because this paper has a longer dry time. But that did not smear that much. But if you just leave it, it will dry, and it doesn't take long. The next thing that I have is the mild liner, and I don't know what this is what the base is on this, so we're going to give it a shot. So, and you can tell it does pull at, these tend to pull at the end, but I'm going to leave that and let that dry. The next thing I have is the Pen Gems, and this is I believe this is a gel insert. I'm not sure if I've switched this to gel or not. So I'm just going to put Pen Gems. And I'm almost sure this is a gel. Nope. And it dried really quick. So it must not be gel. The next thing I'm going to do, these are fountain pens. And the reason I pulled out 2 fountain pens is because this is a Pilot Fine. And it is the Vanishing Point. It has a smooth tip nib on this pen, and it doesn't put out as much ink like some for me, I don't know how to describe it other than some inks are wetter than others, and if the size of the nib will put more ink on the paper. So I'm going to show you the difference between the two. This is a preppy fine point, but to me it writes more like a medium, so it's going to put more ink down. So I thought we could look at both of those. Guys, I wish y'all could just write on this paper. It is so smooth. And I don't know if it's going to smear. Nope. Well, at the end it did. Alrighty. I use this all the time, and when I finish writing, I'm usually good. It dries that quickly. So this is the Preppy. Now this one is also a fine point, but as you can see, let me zoom you in just a little bit. You can see the difference. I went too fast, guys. I'm so sorry. There we go. In the 2 pens, these are both fine, but if you can see the difference in the width of the letters, you can tell that the Preppy is a little bit wider nib to be a fine. It is listed as a 03, and I have an extra fine that is, I think it's a 02. Let me, I think I've got one over to the side. Yes, a 02. So we can give this one a shot too. I like using the Preppy pens in my everyday carry on the go because it's on the fountain pen paper and it's really good. It has a more scratchy nib to it. However, I don't notice that on this paper. It still writes really well. So I'm going to show you the finer tip with the Preppy. So this one is the extra fine point, and it is a 02. So it nib wise, it is equivalent to my Pilot Vanishing Point fine point. So those are the 3 pens, my 3 fountain pens that I wanted to use. But guys, I just absolutely love this paper. I'm wondering if I have something that is an alcohol base. So let me grab a couple pens. These I don't use very often, but let's just try them out. So this is a Flare pen, so let's try that one. Ooh. Pulled one out that is just about gone. Let's see if we can get a different one. And then this is a Sharpie pen. And they do, the Sharpie does smear a little bit, but not that much. So all of those pens are really good pens. Let me just go ahead and get rid of this one. All of these pens work fine on this paper. So evidently I don't have any alcohol based pens. Let me see what other pen I have over here. Oh, I don't want to use yellow. You won't be able to see it. Let's do the purple. This is a Russian Petite, and it is water based also. So if you have these pens, you should be okay. Also, so a lot of your pens, I think I tend to gravitate to the water-based pens. So if you have those, you should be really good. So, guys, I hope you give this paper a shot if you haven't tried it before. I'm going to show you the same pens on this paper. And again, this is the Kikuyo notebook that came in my cover that I had for my cousins originally. And so let's try these. It does write smooth. It's not quite as smooth as the Tomoe River. It has a little bit more of a drag for me. It feels like it drags on the paper. It doesn't write as smooth. We'll save that one for last. And I think with this paper also, as long as you stick to water-based, you are okay. What's this one, Russian? And I think that's it. So let's try the mild liner. And again, it pulls, but it dries really quick. I mean, you can tell how quick that dried. So the drying time on this paper is a lot quicker. It is a very smooth texture or smooth finish to it. But as I said, it is a lot thicker. And it does have a little bit more of a drag on it when you're writing. So I think that's one of the biggest difference for me with the paper. And guys, if you get a chance to just use this kind of paper, give it a shot. Let me widen it back out so you can see it. It is just, it's amazing paper. And this is what I'm thinking I'm going to do. I've got this piece out here so you can kind of see the ghosting through. Even with the highlighter, it just doesn't go all the way through. So I'm thinking of making some little inserts out of this paper that I can keep in my notebook for making notes, like my to-do list and stuff. I'm not going to use all this paper for that, but I thought I would make one for me and one for my son's girlfriend, and just do it this size. It's an A5. It doesn't give me the actual dimensions, but I thought this would be the perfect size to have an insert in my purse to make my grocery list, or if I'm out and about and need to make a note, I can do that. So I'm going to make one for her and one for me, and then that'll still leave me quite a bit of paper that I can use for other things. So I think I'm just going to start pulling it out and making, like when I write notes and things like that to people or letters, I can use this paper. So guys, give it a try. I really, really love this paper. If you like this paper as much as I do, there are planners out there that uses this. The Hobonichi company is one of them, and they're awesome. So guys, until next time, bye-bye.